guys, Manchester City have just obliterated Leipzig by 7-0, winning 8-1 on aggregate. And yeah, I mean, it was an impressive performance by City, don't get me wrong, but Leipzig were, second best by a long shot. And the fact that Leipzig, after that performance, are a team, well, I get. You can say that, I guess, that Leipzig are, fighting for the Bundesliga right now, and they've just lost 7-0. But Man United a couple of weeks ago were within talks of having an outside chance to win the Premier League, and they lost 7-0 to Liverpool. So I guess these things can happen, but it wasn't a very good showing from Leipzig, and they were missing a couple of key players in Schlager and Kunku, but there was a team who was clearly better than the other one today. Erling Haaland obviously scoring 5 goals, and I mean he is just football's ultimate poacher. Let's be honest. The way he manages to get into the positions to take the chances is best quality, really. He had an opportunity to score a goal before he even got any chances. But I think the first goal he scored, the penalty, for me it's a joke of a decision. I think the rule states that if the ball hits a hand after there is a shot on goal, it should be a penalty if the arm is clearly not in a natural position, which it isn't really. It sort of is, but it isn't at the same time. He doesn't have to have it out that far if he's jumping like that, but it is sort of natural to do that. So yeah, I can understand it, but it's not a shot on goal. So for me, I think VAR are reviewing it, and it's not a clear and obvious error. And so for me, I don't think the penalty should be given at all. But Haaland takes it and scores it, and the rest of Man City's goals, I don't see any problems with any of them, really. To be honest, they were all brilliantly worked and set up goals. Haaland obviously scoring 5, De Bruyne and Gundogan getting the other 2. And just nothing from Leipzig, really. The closest they came to causing any sort of threat, really, was you've got 2 highlights. You've got David Raum's cross in the first half, which Ederson collected easily, and you've got Timo Werner forcing Ederson to come out, and I think it was Konrad Laimer actually who Ederson took out, and somehow Timo Werner got booked for complaining to the ref rather than Ederson. So for me, that was a really bizarre decision from the referee. It did seem a lot like a lot was going against Leipzig in the first half, but they never stood a chance with how good Man City were, and this definitely puts out a statement to the rest of Europe, I think, because Leipzig are a team who have had a good season in German football. So this was a really impressive performance. Just go through some of the goals. I mean, the second goal, it's good pressing from Haaland to force the keeper to clear it, City get it up the pitch quickly. It's a brilliant strike from De Bruyne, who he got his rewards in the final minutes of the game, scoring the 7th with another brilliant strike. But this one cannons off the bar, and Haaland gets the rebound. And the third one is somehow come off from Ruben Dias's header and gone straight across the goal line, and Haaland managed to get there just in time before a defender cleared it. And yeah, they're all similar to that. They're all poachers' goals. Gundogan's goal was a good strike as well. But the real question is with the new monster. Well, not new anymore, but the monster that Man City have up front this season in Erling Haaland. This being the first knockout tie he's had with Man City. Can Man City win the Champions League this season? Now, the obvious answer is yes, they can, but will they? I'm still not 100% sure, to be honest, because it feels like once again they're unstoppable. They've put in a brilliant performance. They've absolutely thrashed a respectable team in European football in Leipzig. In recent years they've consistently reached the knockout rounds of the Champions League. They even got to the semi-final in 2020, I think, before they got knocked out by PSG. But yeah, they are a good team. But you have to look at the teams who are still in the competition. I think teams like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Napoli, they are going to be very tough for Manchester City to beat, in my opinion. So, it's definitely not like they're the favourites by some margin. I think it's going to be very tough, and a lot of it does depend on who they get in the next round. I think there are a few teams that could cause Man City problems and could definitely make a good tie, in the quarterfinals against Man City. So it will be interesting to see. I don't think Leipzig would have performed much better had they have had Nkunku or Schlager playing, to be honest, just because Man City were that good and Leipzig showed absolutely nothing. It was a completely different game to what we saw in the first leg, to be honest. Just a complete difference in class. I think it's fair to say Man City made Leipzig tonight look like a championship team, to be honest, because Leipzig just offered absolutely nothing. And I think the whole thing about did De Bruyne have a point to prove, I don't think he did, to be honest. I think people have looked into Pep's criticism too much. I think I don't even call it criticism, to be honest, because it's not really. It's just saying that De Bruyne, he's maybe not he's not been as hot as he was at the start of the season in terms of his form. So Pep's just highlighting that's what he needs to do if Manchester City are to get back to their best. Obviously, the World Cup's going to affected De Bruyne a bit, both in the fact that he hasn't had much of a rest. I know Belgium went out of the group stage, but he didn't get the long rest that some of the other players had, and he has played majority of games for City so far this season up until the World Cup. And that also there's the disappointment side of it, from the World Cup, the fact that it's probably not his last World Cup. I wouldn't say that. I think I would imagine he'd still be going in 2026. I know he'll be a bit of a veteran by then. Would he be 35? I think he'd be in 2026. So it'll definitely be his last one. But given how good he is, I'd still back him to be one of Belgium's most influential players even then. But it'll be interesting to see what sort of talent Belgium can produce in the next 2 or 3 years. So obviously we've seen some young players who look decent, like Charles de Ketelaere, Jeremy Doku, but nothing that makes you think that they're going to be a great side in a few years. But I don't think Guardiola said anything out of order about De Bruyne, to be honest. I think it was all, fair enough. And City they went for this defensive back four of 4 centre backs, having John Stones and Nathan Ake play on the outside of Diaz and Kanji. And they played well. John Stones in particular, I thought, had a brilliant game at right back, or he sort of drifts into like a defensive midfield role with Rodri at times. So that worked well, and that just gives Gundogan a bit more licence to get forward and get some shots off. So it's the system. It hasn't really been tried yet in Europe by Guardiola before this tie against Leipzig, and it seems to be working. So there's it's a different debate over this tactic that Guardiola is trying to do more often this season, and like in sort of making the left back tuck in and pushing the right back a bit further forward. It usually is. So it is interesting to see whether this will work in Europe for Guardiola. It's not worked as effectively as I think Guardiola would want in the league, and I think that could just be down to the fact that new recruitment's needed, given that there are position changes, tactic changes, and that there have been important players out of the team. Quite for Man City, obviously, Cancelo's gone to Bayern Munich. Zinchenko left at the start of the season. Kyle Walker, well, the less said about him at the minute, the better. But yeah, I think it could be interesting to see how this one goes, in my opinion. But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.